All right, we are live. Just back on YouTube for a smidge. We'll quickly throw this up into the Twitter sphere. All right. Hey, everybody's joining. Hello, Eddie Koshai. Chemical Warfare Man says hello. Jack Ganger, Don P. Shooter, Skady, Memes Are Dreams. Nassim117, it's good to see you, buddy. Ultimate Gaming says hello. Yeah, everybody's in here today. How are y'all doing, Halo boys? Oh, today boys. I guess we are Halo boys, right? Well, and girls. Intense typing. Yeah, that's where we are. It's good to see you're all here now. All right, friends. So there are new weekly rewards in Halo Infinite. One of them is a coding, from what I understand. I think for rifles, because coatings aren't universal yet. Okay. Let's see. It is a weapon coating. Okay, good. I hope that means that it can be applied to multiple weapons. It would suck if it's just one. Let's see. Win Fiesta PvP matches. Kill enemy Spartans with a sidekick pistol. We could definitely start out with those because those are a little bit easy. How are you guys doing, by the way? Evolution of the Elites is still being worked on. I am currently in the middle of writing Halo 4's segment. It's definitely tough right now, the pacing for Halo 4, because a lot changed. Not just like the design-wise, but the sentiment around elites. Because if you remember, Halo 4 was the first game since their introduction to just flat out not let you play as them in the multiplayer mode. So I'm wondering if I should bring that up first. Basically, here's the way that I'm structuring the Playable Elites video, or the Evolution of the Elites video right now, is first, in Halo 4, I talk about the design change and why they designed them that way. Then I talk about how they aren't playable in multiplayer and how that created a kind of hostile environment for the new design, why it wasn't received well, because it was fighting an uphill battle. Then I talk about how they are in gameplay, and I'm actually thinking of taking that multiplayer chunk and moving it back and just talking about the design and their role in the campaign, and then moving on over to the multiplayer and the unfortunate surprise, you know? It's for the AR. Okay. Designated Kitty says, did you see DB Geek got his YouTube hacked? I did not see that. There's like a lot of scary stuff going on with people's YouTubes being hacked. From what I understand, isn't it a... zoom level. Oh god, I forgot that's a bug. Hang on, I'm gonna have to reset everything. Okay. It is use equipment I have to B. For crouching and sliding, I have to right stick. And then for melee, I have RB. Those are my Halo Infinite controls for right now. And let us get go. Oh my god. Alright, guess we're in the thick of it. I totally forgot that I have the grappling hook. I could have just grapple jacked that. Yes! Like this! Okay. And I think I killed him too. Yep. That was pretty good. Okay, that's it. We're off to a good start, I guess. How are you guys enjoying Season 2, by the way? Also, what do you guys think of the face videos, webcam? I know that the webcam is a bit of a potato, but is it enjoyable, at least? Is it a nice potato? I wonder how Lord Hood feels about the lack of playable elites since Halo Reach. I'm sure Lord Hood wouldn't care too much. Well, Lord Hood didn't even like the elites. Remember, even with Arbiter, he was like, I'll never forgive you for what you did, but you have my thanks. That implies like he's not like, okay, all is forgiven, I'm a big fan of the elites. He's more like, okay, you have my thanks, now get the fuck off my planet, basically. That's at least how I interpreted that. Damn it. Okay. I'm actually a big Last Spartan Standing fan. Yeah, Last Spartan Standing is not the worst thing on planet Earth. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by it. It's got its problems, but I think all brand new Halo modes have their problems. It's more solid than I expected it to be. I think a lot of the community contention is around how it handles the power-ups, like overshields and stuff, because I think what they're trying to do with the power-up spam, like everybody getting overshields, I think that they're trying to use it as a pseudo stand-in for the armor system of games like Apex Legends or Warzone. The problem is that overshields are very different from an armor system that you get in your traditional Battle Royale game. It's not something you can just directly bring over, you know? Like, you'd have to create a new piece of equipment, I guess. Joe Shrapnel says, hashtag Morbius Kate. Yeah, Morbius. If Jared Leto wasn't content with embarrassing himself as the world's worst version of the Joker, then he's going to star in one of the worst movies Sony has put out in quite some time. And that says a lot, because Sony movies are not great, typically. At least their Spider-Man movies are typically not great. Oh boy. Let's go this way. LNG, check out the shop after this round. Is there something bad up on the shop? Because otherwise, I don't know. I'm not the biggest. I'm not gonna go crazy about the shop, I guess. The way I see it is, it's just like, I don't know. I could spend $20 on something in the shop, or I could just save my money. Because whatever is in the shop, there's going to be something cooler later on. So I might as well save my money. You know, it's the nature of these live service games. Plus, whatever's in the shop it's like, if it's cool looking, it's only going to be cool for like a season or so until they add something new. So it's like, you know, the coolness factor has an expiration date, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So unless the shop has something nostalgic, like, you know, a coating that kind of makes you look like Combat Evolved Chief, or like a thing that makes your assault rifle look like the Halo 3 assault rifle. I just don't really care about whatever's in the shop. Clippy is only $3, and that is $3 I will not be spending on Clippy. That is okay. I don't need to spend $3 on Clippy, even if it is just $3. Are you gonna watch Kenobi? Possibly. Maybe. When I have the time, I guess, because Kenobi looks really good. But I guess I'm also a little bit disappointed that Kenobi isn't like a movie or something. I'm starting to feel like after The Mandalorian Season 2, which was good, by the way, just something about it. It, like, I felt kind of tired after it was over. And now it's like these shows, I'm starting to actually get quite exhausted by watching them. Because they kind of feel less like shows and more like 9-hour movies, if that makes sense. And it's kind of like, I don't want to watch a 9-hour movie about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just want to watch a 2-hour movie about him. Oh boy. Damn it. Okay. What if Clippy was an AI? If Clippy was an AI, that would be different, but still, I would not buy a Clippy AI. If Clippy was free, it would be a different story. I'd probably run that. But it's like, I don't know, man, you know? I just think about, like, all the things I could spend that money on. Let me put it this way. If Clippy was in another video game other than Halo, would I still buy him? Probably not. So why would I buy him in a Halo game? For the most part, I only use 2 AIs. The Superintendent and the other one. Like, Mr. Chief? No. Mr. Chief's almost like, he's like the Vault Boy from Fallout. How he's been kind of, like, turned into almost like an icon of greed because of the way that, like, Bethesda used him to market Fallout first, that crappy, like, service. So it's like, no, I hate Vault Boy now. Like, all I think about is a Fallout First membership when I see his little stupid face. And same with Mr. Chief. Whenever I look at Mr. Chief, I think of that smarmy ad for the rec packs where they were, like, talking down to their players and telling you, like, shut up, grown-ups are talking. Loot boxes are in Halo now. The new memento from the show. Gross. Oh, the Keystone? That's okay. The Keystone's okay. I actually kind of like the Keystones in the show. They do have that, like, Reclaimer saga, Forerunner aesthetic to them. But I wonder how much of that is due to the show being in pre-production for so long. I almost wonder if that Keystone was kind of made a very long time ago as a prop for the show. And it's even weird because, like, a lot of the Forerunner stuff in the show so far, it doesn't look like typical Halo Forerunner stuff, except for the Keystone, which looks kind of ripped out of Halo 4 or Halo 5. There we go. That was one sidekick kill. Let's go up here. The Keystone and the Silver Team charms are fine. Yeah, they're fine. You know, Silver Team's cool. So is the Keystone. It is cool. What I'm a little bit surprised about is that's it. As far as, like, tie-ins for the show are concerned. I am shocked that there is not a tie-in armor, like Silver Team's armor or something. It seems almost like a no-brainer, you know? It's just so weird how, I guess, like, behind they are when it comes to some of that stuff. Shame they didn't pull back Neil Blomkamp to produce the show. He would have been amazing. He definitely would have. Yeah. I gotta confess, I have not watched episode 7 yet, because when I heard that it was mostly Quan, I was like, oh no. I like Quan. I don't mind Quan. Quan's a solid character, and the actress is good. It's just they set her up, and it was like, okay, are we going to, like, is she going to join Chief and maybe even eventually kind of, like, be responsible for his awakening humanity? But then it's like she gets separated from him and dropped on Madrigal, and the writing, specifically the dialogue and costumes and sets, take a nosedive in quality, and it's just like, what is this? This feels like a bootleg Star Wars. If you could change anything about the show, what would it be? Says Cup of Tea. I'd probably, if I could change anything about the show, it would probably be Chief keeping his helmet on. Either that or, I don't know, is the dialogue, is that, like, a good answer? Because the show, for the most part, I actually don't mind some of the creative liberties it's taken with the Halo IP. Like, it's an adaptation of Halo, not a direct Halo show set in the Halo universe from the games. You know, it's an adaptation of it, kind of like Marvel, how they'll loosely adapt certain comic stories for their movies. The problem I have with it, though, is it's got that, like, every now and then, the dialogue just drops off a cliff and it becomes incredibly, like, shallow and kind of simplistic and not that interesting. I think of that scene with Quan where she's talking to what's her name in a room, like that lady, and it's like the set was so bad and the stuff they were talking about wasn't that interesting. And then that guy who is naked in a tub, he hires an assassin. He's like, I'm hiring you because you're the best. Be discreet. And then she runs around yelling with a sword and, like, cutting people in half. And then she gets shot and, like, leaps loudly out of a window. It's like, okay, I guess you're the best and you're known for being discreet. If chopping people in half while screaming in the middle of a crowded street is, you know, discreet. I don't know, it's just stuff like that in the Halo show that's just, like, shockingly, alarmingly bad. It's not like Nightfall. Halo Nightfall, it's much better than Halo Nightfall. I'll say that. The show is much better in quality than Halo Nightfall. Let's see. Quan Ha isn't even that bad. Yeah, she's a solid character and, like, a good actress. Like, the first episode with her was awesome. The show's doing her dirty right now. Have you finished the interference event? The interference event? Yes, I finished it. That was not an event. That was a couple of challenges tied to a playlist and then a cutscene. The term event, it's so, like, hard to describe why I don't like calling Halo Infinite's events. But there's gotta be more than just some challenges, you know? I wonder if some of the kind of, like, underwhelming aspects of the events are due to 343 not being able to do what they wanted to do originally. Remember where they wanted a very limited selection of playlists and fan favorite modes would, like, return but as limited time stuff? Are you looking forward to any new games? I'm definitely looking forward to Jedi Fallen Order 2. I don't know, not that much. I mean, Modern Warfare 2, obviously, I'm incredibly excited about that. I actually really like Modern Warfare 2019. So I'm quite interested in the sequel. Morbius is better than Nightfall. I haven't even seen Morbius, and I'd be willing to agree with that. Yeah, Nightfall's not good. Nightfall's not very good. Don't watch Nightfall. Well, I mean, you can watch it. The worst thing I can say about Nightfall is Mike Coulter sucks in it, and it's very boring. That's the nicest thing I can say about it. Oh, boy. Yes. Morbius is our modern Citizen Kane. That's fair, I guess. Modern Warfare 2019 is okay. I just don't like the engine and how it seems to break all the time. That seems to be less of a problem with the engine, and it seems to be more a problem with polish, as well as the way that Warzone was designed. Because Modern Warfare 2019, I am positive that none of those developers that were working on the game since 2016 were under the impression that their engine would support a giant, like, 200-player whatever battle royale that would get, like, Godzilla and, like, constant skins added to it. They were probably just building their engine with the idea that they were going to move on to a new game in 3 years. So a lot of the engine breakage, that's more just due to, like, that wasn't how the engine was designed to be used. It was sort of forced into that role when Warzone was like a runaway success. this isn't really topical, but hearing the dun 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 da Halo motif clunkily injected into the music makes me want to backflip into Legos. It gets super cheesy. Otherwise, the original music kicks ass. For the show, for the Halo show, I actually really don't like the soundtrack for the Halo show. I think it's very uninspired, boring, and I can't recall a single piece of music from it. Like that intro, it's so boring, like aggressively boring, you know? It's like scared almost to have an identity. The only parts I remember from the soundtrack are when it calls back to the Halo monk chant. And it will do that super briefly, and then almost like it's embarrassed, it'll quickly get back to like generic sci-fi music. It's like Halo to me is kind of like Star Wars in a way, where the identity of its universe also comes with a musical, symphonic identity. So just kind of like throwing that out in favor of like Mass Effect or bargain basement Mass Effect music, you know, it seems weird. Q Alter says, I want to see more of the Brutes and Hunters because they're my favorite in the show, and I think season 2 is okay. I like it. Also, I turned 20 today. Hey, happy birthday! Happy 20th, man. And yeah, the Brutes look awesome in the show, dude. Atriox looked super cool in the Halo show. I'm curious to see if they're going to set up the rise of the Banished in the Halo show. Like, the reason that they specifically show off Atriox and have him take... what is that he took? Was it the Keystone? Or the second Keystone from Madrigal? No, it was from Chief's home planet, if I remember right. They're probably setting him up to be almost like a Tartarus-like figure merged with Atriox. Sort of like how the Prophet of Mercy in the Halo show is a combination of truth from the games. As well as, I guess, Mercy, literally in name only. So, like the Halo 4 soundtrack. Yeah, kind of. Where it's like, except I'd argue Halo 4's soundtrack doesn't really sound like Halo music, but it's got more of a personality to it than the stuff in the Halo show. Planet Nozaire says, I meant the game music, lol. Oh, I'm sorry, man. You don't like the multiplayer music for Halo Infinite? I actually rather like it. It's pretty cool what they do with the Halo theme. Because they're not also just calling back to it. Also, a lot of the motifs build off of the Halo theme. And it's super subtle. But unless you know the actual, like, notes of the Halo theme, you probably won't notice that. You're like, that's cool. They're actually playing the Halo theme very, very loosely and, like, branching it off into new melodies. Like, right now, this guitar that's going, it is, like, flirting with the starting note of the monk chant. And it's, like, bouncing around it and kind of, like, building itself up. You can even hear, like, a background synth that's starting to rise. It's cool. Deep Fried Nendroid says, yeah, baby. It should have been Tartarus. It would have made more sense, says Jack Grove. Well, I think it depends on what the show is going to do with Atriox. Because if they are going to, like, expand on Atriox and even set up a civil war within the Covenant, which is the rise of the Banished, then showing off Atriox early, that makes sense to me, you know? I guess it's like, if Tartarus doesn't serve a role in this show's story, then why include him other than having him just be there for fan service? Because the show isn't canon, and it's been very honest about that. So what I'm more interested in seeing is how they use Halo characters in this new story they're trying to tell. I'm less up in arms about the show not being canon than, I guess, some other people. Merry Thanksgiving, says Cup of Tea. Merry Thanksgiving, friend. Okay, we got that. Let's check out the shop just to see what's going on. Um, I'm not gonna wear this helmet, you know? I'm not gonna use this coating. I'm not gonna use that or that or that. I don't know, man. You know? The glove I might want, because I actually do like the gloves in a first-person shooter. Like, I see my hand most of the time. But it's just like $12? I could get myself something from Panera for that money. You know, and then kind of like this. I don't know, it's like, it's a red assault rifle. Okay, it comes with some more stuff. That's not bad. I guess it's just, there's going to be more later, you know? So why buy this now when I could just wait for something cooler to come along? This was probably the most interesting one that I saw people talking about online, like the white assault rifle, white, like this stuff I do actually like. But again, like, there's probably going to be something cooler later. You know, and it'll probably be bundled with even more extensive vehicle customization stuff, like a hood or something. So I might as well just save my money and wait, you know? I don't know, man. Just the shop isn't doing it for me. Like, a lot of this stuff is just like, I'll wait till something cool comes along. Okay, how do I get access, though, to the free stuff? Red AR ammo counter is nifty, says Madman. I mean, I guess. It's nifty, but it's not, I'm going to pay $8 for it nifty, you know? Because I'm probably going to run it briefly and then go back to another coating, because I like the assault rifle. I like the look of it, and even in multiplayer with all these, like, skins and stuff, I want it to look still like a Halo assault rifle. So I stay away from, like, these skins and these ones, or, like, this, and I try to stay more towards, like, the muted ones that kind of preserve the look of the assault rifle and the colors of it, relatively speaking. I hope that made sense. Yeah, there's the keystone. Here, we'll equip it. What's going on? Why can't I... Okay, the menu's bugging. We'll reset the game. The menu's bugging out, because of course it is. Ugh. What's the new armor core? It says Analogic Paradox. I'm not sure. Is there new armor core? Jessica Gray says, but FOMO BS, can't buy it now. Well, then that's okay. In a week, I will literally not be able to buy it. So there you go, temptation over. All I gotta do is just say, nah, for about a week, and then it'll be out of my hands because it won't be accessible to me anymore. I don't know, the FOMO stuff is very easy for me to ignore. Now let's check out some other coatings that we can slap on our Spartan. I think I want to rock blue. Just to give myself like that classic Halo look with the blue or red gloves. Or sorry, glove protection on the back of the hands. Okay. There we go. That's cute. Yeah, we'll do that. That's cute, right? I do like the charms this season. This is more like it, you know, cute little stuff like the Halo Combat Evolve logo. I hope that we could see like more logos from the games. Like get all the logos in there, you know? Jang Mang says, how was your day? My day was awesome. Got up early, did a lot of cleaning. We're starting to set up actually our front porch, Rebecca and I. It's just really good day, super productive. I think I'll make this yellow. Nah, we'll keep the Combat Evolve logo on the sniper. throw a keystone on you, though. Okay, I'm happy, I think. And then if I remember right, there were just like a couple of, I don't know, like stickers or something like that that you could get. Okay. Fiesta. Let's go. We gotta just win one more match and get 2 more kills with the sidekick. How are you guys doing, by the way? Ugh. Hey, bud, love your hard work and continuous advocacy for consumer rights. I think your critiques are spot on. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. I'm not sure what, I guess, consumer rights I stand up for. I guess I'm being honest. I don't know. Like, I get it that it's Halo, but if I wouldn't buy it in another game, I'm not going to buy it in Halo. Like, I don't want, at the end of the day, to figure out that I have dumped hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into this game that I could have spent towards other things, you know? Like, I'm thinking, like, if I don't buy things from the shop and everybody else is spending hundreds and hundreds, eventually I could probably save up enough money that I did not spend on the shop to buy something meaningful, like a table, or a TV, or a new speaker system, you know? It's just, the game's not real. Unless there's something super nostalgic, I'm probably not going to buy it from the shop. I think the only thing I've actually bought from the shop was ODST helmet, because I'm a big fan of ODSTs. Like the ODST helmet for the Halo Infinite Spartan Core, as well as a little thing that makes my battle rifle, the Halo Infinite battle rifle, have the same like flash hider design from Halo 2. And those are because those are emotionally resonant for me, you know? I'm not going to spend $20 on an ugly skin that makes my assault rifle red, you know? I don't have an emotional attachment to a red assault rifle coating. Would love to have a stream where you play with fans. Would love to be there. I'd love to do that too. Does anybody know if they've patched in open lobbies for like custom games, or if the custom games are even like working now without crashing? You bought the sidekick attachment and a Maltese Mayhem. That's true as well. I bought the sidekick thing because it kind of makes the sidekick look a little bit more like a Magnum, you know? It's stuff like that where it's like, I'm not going to buy it because it's loud and flashy. Like that stupid dragon skin, I don't think I could care any less about the dragon thing for the battle rifle, even if I tried extremely hard. I don't have an emotional attachment to a battle rifle that looks like a Cheeto. Especially if what I'm also thinking about is what's the lifespan of this thing when I equip it? Because I don't want to spend $10 on something this week, use it for like 4 weeks, and then something else comes out that I buy, and then I never look back at that other thing, you know? Whatever thing I want to buy, it's got to last for a while. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like I just wasted my money on what is essentially a digital coffee mug from a gift shop. You know, where it's like you're just like, why did I buy this? It's a coffee mug with a logo on it. I don't need this. I feel like I just wasted my money because it was a gift shop, and I should buy something. Anyone else not like the seasonal model? I don't like the seasonal model either. Because also, like, what is a season, I guess? Like, what makes it a season? If that makes any sense. Like, that they're updating it. Halo 5 didn't have seasons. And it got, you know, updates. Halo 3 didn't have seasons, and it got updates. I don't know. What makes Halo Infinite special? the cutscene? The 3 of them? Like, that's not really a season to me. And especially if this seasonal model means that we're going to get less content on a regular basis than, like, previous games post-launch. In a game, a Halo game that really needs content, you know? Hey, Late Night, I'm looking to get an Xbox Series X because my Xbox One is dog water. The Xbox Series X, I am actually playing on it currently as we speak. Very pleasantly surprised by it. Extremely pleasantly surprised by it. I was not a big fan of the Xbox One console. I think that it at least at launch, like, the 360 is probably one of my favorite game consoles of all time. But the Xbox One just, like, wasn't it, chief. You know, the UI was really sluggish and kind of hard to navigate. The games all, like, had, like, input lag that wasn't present on the PS4, which is bizarre. And a lot of, like, ports for the Xbox One weren't that good. But the Xbox One X was, like, it was a pretty good upgrade to the Xbox One, but the Series X, this feels like the console successor to the Xbox One or to the Xbox 360 that we should have had from the start. Like, the UI is quick, it's speedy, it's responsive. It's even got, like, animated backgrounds, which are really cool. I also really like the backwards compatibility stuff. There are a lot of interesting features that you can activate for old games that range from FPS boosting old games to straight up, you know, injecting HDR into them. The Xbox One X does that as well, but Luis Martinez says, nah, Halo 3 got paid DLC. At this point, I would pay for a map pack, because at least the map pack, they come out quicker. They also mean that I get a healthy customization system because none of that shit can be bought with money. And that basically means that the content has to come out because people are buying it, you know? Like, the maps have to come out, and they have to be a lot of them, and they have to be varied. I don't know. Halo is a free-to-play live service game. I don't really see a lot of benefits to it so far. How would you feel if Season 4 released 6 months after Season 3? And do you think the game will be hanging by a thread by then? If they do that, I don't think they'll do that. I think Season 2 was kind of the final 6-month season. Because they now have had about, what, a year to kind of get on track, which in game development timelines, that's about enough time for you to pivot or change course. I'd imagine that part of the reason these seasons have lasted so long is because behind the scenes, quite a lot of problems have been happening with the game. You know, 343 haven't been brilliant, I guess, at hiding that Halo Infinite did not have a traditional or stress-free development cycle. And so they probably, a lot of their plans and whatever they wanted to do, you know, during development, a lot of that has probably changed and been reorganized and changed around. And after Season 2, I'm willing to bet we're going to start seeing content more regularly because they've kind of, like, caught up to their new plan going forward. Oh boy. Damn it. Okay. They're going to win, aren't they? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whatever happened to final YouTube stream? I'm out of the loop, or is that not happening quite yet? I might have spoken prematurely. Because it's definitely, it doesn't have to be like the nuclear option of, I started a Twitch, YouTube is dead, YouTube streaming. I can do both, right? But you guys should definitely check out the Twitch. It's actually pretty fun. boy. Damn it, yes! Okay. That's good, and I think I got that, the final 2 sidekick kills. Cheeky Chop says, do you think Halo Infinite should have been delayed? I'm not sure, honestly, because I feel like a delay would not have added more content to the game. A delay probably would have just given them more time to polish up what they had already, if that makes sense. Okay, we can do that. Because if I remember right, they said that they were locking down the content around January or February, right? In 2021. They said that's around the time when they were locking down content. And so for most of 2021, it looked like they were in the polishing phase, I guess. And, I mean, given how unpolished the game was at launch and still continues to be, they probably could have done with more time. But I don't know if that time would have meant more content, you know? It probably would have meant that a lot of the infrastructure of the game would have been a bit more stable. I'm willing to bet the UI probably would have seen the biggest benefit from delaying just a bit longer. Are you streaming on Twitch right now? No, I'm not streaming on Twitch right now. I don't know how to set up like a dual Twitch to YouTube stream system, whatever. At least not yet. Nick Sheridan says webcam looks better. It probably looks better because Rebecca let me borrow her rim light, which looks fantastic. Ring light? Rim light? Check out the Twitch where Late Night Gaming gets force-fed pizza. That was fun. Hey, Late Night, if you could add one side boss or a high-value target to Halo Infinite's campaign, what or who would it be? I don't know. I feel like... I guess it depends. What would the side boss be like? Would it be like the side bosses in the campaign already, where it's just a giant field and then it's a guy with a name? Because I feel like that would be a big waste. I could come up with this elaborate backstory, but if the encounter is just an open field, then I feel like I'm going to have wasted my time. You know, I'd want a side boss for Halo Infinite to be a little bit more interesting. You know what I'd probably do? I'd probably have a side boss that is a cloaked elite. And it's kind of like a trap. There's a grunt or something with his back to the player. The idea being you're supposed to kind of trick players into wanting to backsmack the grunt, you know, to like get that free kill. And there's going to be a trapdoor. And you fall into the trapdoor and you're in an underground tunnel with a maze. And there might have been like a forerunner thing that like just disintegrated your weapons. So you are weaponless. There are fusion coils everywhere. And there's a cloaked elite down there with you. And so the only way to take him down is by using fusion coils as you're like running away and trying to like hide in the darkness, you know? That's a side boss I'd create. Yes! Okay. We got the double kill. And we got the assault rifle. The new maps are excellent. They are, right? Like, Halo Infinite doesn't have the strongest map design in the series. I think Halo's map design kind of fell off a cliff a little bit after Halo 4. Halo 4 was the last one to have, like, some novel or interesting multiplayer maps. But Catalyst, dude, it feels like I'm looking through like a time portal. It feels like ripped out of Halo 2 or Reach or something. It feels very classic in like the best way. And even this new Big Team Battle map, despite some of the mechanical issues I have with how Big Team Battle in Halo Infinite works, like this is a pretty solid map. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but it is good. It is fun to play on. Come on. Yes, okay. Damn it. Once there was an ugly barnacle, so ugly that everyone died the end. That's a pretty good SpongeBob quote. Unpopular opinion, this new mode is hot garbage. I'd be curious to hear why you think it's hot garbage. I don't think it's hot garbage, because that implies that there's like really nothing salvageable about it. It just sucks. I actually think it's okay. I think it's pretty solid. So I'd be curious to hear what your issues with it, because from a mechanical standpoint, I actually think it's an okay idea. Combining gun game with a battle royale. I think some of its issues are actually about the weapon distribution, like what weapons go in what slots, as well as the role of things such as the overshields or the active camo. Do you think Halo needs bosses as cheeky chops? No. I think what Halo needs more than bosses is it needs difficult encounters. Or interesting, mechanically complex encounters. Because on one hand, you could just have a guy, and he has more health than the other people because he has a name above his head, which is kind of like artificial and doesn't really feel that organic. But on the other hand, you could craft a super interesting gameplay scenario to drop the player in with an AI that has a unique personality or unique voice lines. I think of kind of like in Halo 3, the brute chieftain, who's like, fight me, and like the brutes are in that circle. It's just a chieftain. There's nothing different about it, right? But that scenario was unique. Because the brutes weren't just instantly shooting at you. It felt like a duel with this chieftain. And that's more memorable and iconic to me than a guy who has a health bar above his head. Let's see. I feel like grenades should be given off of spawns, Jaden. I don't know about that. Because I feel like then you'd have kind of like, you'd have people lobbing grenades all over the place and it would be kind of craziness. In fact, I kind of wish that the game had a toned down SMG or assault rifle, like some kind of close ranged automatic weapon. That way the first couple minutes of the match can be just kind of like, classic social slayer chaos where everyone's just like running around spraying and you don't have to worry about being sniped from long range. Death Templar says, I like the idea of Last Spartan Standing, but I can't form a rational opinion since most of my time playing it was strong-armed by challenges. After doing challenges, it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That's true as well. That's definitely a fault of the challenge system where you're forced to basically play Halo wrong. And because you're playing Halo wrong, it can tarnish a lot of your opinions of how certain game modes work or how certain weapons work. I don't know. I feel like Halo... Challenge systems in Halo, I think Reach got it right, where it was just this, like, cumulative thing that you get over the course of, like, a week, or, like, simple day stuff, like, just kill Spartans, Having challenges be the driving force of Halo multiplayer, I think that was a mistake. Challenges for Halo should always just be the bread and butter. It's a little bit extra on top of the XP you're already getting just by playing the game. Because Halo it's challenges such as get 50 assault rifle kills or get whatever backsmacks. That's more loadout driven stuff, kind of like Call of Duty. Halo is a game where your play styles and how you play the game can vary from a map to map basis. So forcing players to play a specific way. Oh, that was cool. I thought my phone was going off because of the arcade. That was like pretty good audio occlusion. That actually fooled me. I'm also not a fan of the new King of the Hill mode. I feel like King of the Hill used to be such a fast-paced and very, like, arcadey mode where even if you were being steamrolled, it was okay because the match was going to be over soon. But now, even if you're being steamrolled, it takes so long for King of the Hill matches to end. Lucas says, I really enjoyed Halo 4's challenges. Hot take, maybe? Nah, not really hot take, because Halo 4 more or less used the Reach challenge system, and I thought it worked well in Halo 4 as well. You know? I remember logging on and doing some Halo 4 challenges on top of the multiplayer. Red says, late night gaming, I hope you're having a great day. I am having a great day. I'm having a fantastic day, actually. There we go. Oh, that's friendly. I'm also getting pretty good at playing without the outlines. Something to consider for some of the outline folk was, we all don't like skill-based matchmaking, right? Or at least if not skill-based matchmaking, we don't like how aggressive it has gotten, right? Since Halo 5. Well, you know what's the cure for skill-based matchmaking? Not being super sweaty. And a good way to do that is turn off the outlines. That way, you're not killing people and just going crazy when you're playing Halo, you know? I've found, actually, that since I turned off outlines, my matches have gotten less sweaty, and it's probably because I'm killing a lot less people. Because it's kind of like cheating when you have, like, that outline system on, because the game is basically telling you where everybody is in no uncertain terms. Nobody can hide because they're all glowing through bushes and shrubbery and stuff, so make it a little bit harder to spot people. You'll be killing people a lot less, and your ranking in the skill-based matchmaking will probably go down. Oh no, I've just found Halo Infinite has gotten a lot more pleasant since I turned off the outlines and played a couple of games. Wait, how do you disable the outlines? I will show you in 1 second. Okay. So you go over to UI, scroll down here, and here's your UI stuff, right? Outline opacity, just drop it all the way to 0. And the way that you can tell friend or foe is actually down here. So show enemy names, show friendly names, and show fireteam names. And here you can do like a service tag or a gamer tag for your UI buddies. And basically, look, all friendly Spartans, they have like a little thing above their head. Even through walls, it's not like this obnoxious glow. And how you can tell what an enemy is you'll probably notice when I start aiming at an enemy, they get a little thing above their head. Kind of like classic Halo. I don't really see why there can't be a playlist without skill-based matchmaking. Probably because, ironically, that would become a sweaty nightmare. Because what you'd get is you'd get situations where everybody on your team sucks, and there's like maybe one guy on the other team who's excellent. And it's just him steamrolling and basically spawn camping and stuff. Destiny is currently kind of like struggling with that in its Crucible mode. Because they don't have skill-based matchmaking in Destiny multiplayer at all. And it shows, because almost every single match ends with a mercy timeout. Because it's like 1 or 2 people on the enemy team just steamrolling everybody. Even the Halo games that we remember had skill-based matchmaking. The difference is that the approach to skill-based matchmaking has changed in the last decade, I'd say. And in my opinion, for the worse. It's led to, like, sweatier, harder to play games. It's gotten better for new gamers to get into games. Because, you know, they're kind of, like, soft protected against a lot of the sweats. But people like me who are, like, fairly good. I've got experience with first-person shooters. And then really competitive people. It's just, like, thoroughly miserable. The matchmaking experience. It's even worse when you've got kind of like boneheaded decisions being made, like allowing skill-based matchmaking to even work in bot matches. So if you do too well in a bot match in Halo Infinite, Guess you're a champion, buddy. You're being thrown right in with the best players in the game.
Nearing victory.
Can you say my name? Says Riel Bignall? I hope I said that right.
Enemy team took the hill.
Damn it. More like late day gaming. Right? Right, guys? What do you think of the new GRD helmet? Says Scorpius Venomous. I actually really like it. Dude, the armor core, the new one, is actually pretty cool. It reminds me a lot of, ironically, like those Spartan OCs that you see on like Twitter or like Halo subreddit, where they kit bash like a bunch of different armors from like Halo Reach, as well as some like other stuff from maybe CSGO. It's like, it's pretty cool looking. It's not my cup of tea for a Halo Spartan, but I'm going to put a little bit of time into making sure that my new Spartan looks good. And the new GRD helmet looks really cool for it. Opinion on the Mangler nerf. I'm not a fan. I don't really like stat changes, I guess, to some of Halo's weapons. I'd prefer that they would... I mean, definitely there are exceptions that can be made, but... I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of the Mangler's issues are just that it's a weapon that's quite difficult to use, with a sandbox that is dominated by a small number of very easy-to-use weapons, mainly the battle rifle and the assault rifle, which these things, it's not that they take no skill, it's that they are very easy to just use and clean up kills with. So why would you ever use a weapon that's a lot harder to use, like the Stalker or the Mangler? And the Mangler kind of devolved in players just spamming its melee attack. And so I'm not a big fan of all the weapons to nerf. It was the Mangler? I feel like they have the power to just, you know, not have it on some of the maps if they think it's overpowered.
Enemy team took the hill.
I wish the game didn't force us to play Last Spartan Standing, even after you finish the event. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. The forcing players to play certain playlists, that's also kind of like that's not really a Halo thing. It's just those challenges, man. That was a bad idea for a system. This whole, like, temporary playlist thing, it's very antithetical to what Halo is as a game, you know? Halo's a game where you want to kind of, like, create this nice environment for dozens of sub-communities to grow and foster, and you want to give all of them the appropriate attention they all deserve via a suite of custom game options, Forge mode, post-game, pre-game, lobbies so players can invite each other, file share, and stuff. So, I don't know. Halo Infinite just has a lot of structural, foundational problems. Okay, we gotta play a lot of Last Spartan Standing. Because, like, there's some people that don't buy Halo for Slayer. They buy it for, like, Living Dead. You know, like the Infection playlist. Infection's actually my favorite game mode in Halo. So imagine if I hopped on Halo and I want to level up. I want to, you know, rank up and stuff, and the game is forcing me to play something else that I did not buy the game for and am not interested in. That's just not really how Halo... It comes across as kind of like a misunderstanding of why Halo was so successful with Halo 3 and Reach. And it's no surprise, I think, that Halo 5 was at its most successful when all of that stuff was in the game. The file share system, custom games, server browser, Forge, and then, like, Infection and a ton of different playlists. You know, Halo 5 wasn't doing too hot when it was, like, strong-arming players and limiting the amount of content you could have. And same with Halo Infinite now. Halo Infinite is basically learning the exact same lesson that I had hoped Halo 5 taught 343. I really miss Invasion/Elites. I miss Playable Elites too. Playable Elites, not just for like customization, but that was also like a cool tool to use in creating asymmetrical game types. Maybe they'll sneak it into some Halloween Fracture event. I don't know, man. Like, I'd be more angry than happy if I had to wait till October to play Infection, a game mode where if you stab a guy with an energy sword, he joins your team. You know? Like, I'd be more pissed off if they withheld Infection just so they could do a cheeky Halloween event. Like, I want Infection in the game much sooner than Halloween. And then for Halloween, have a bunch of really cool Forge maps that are spooky. Oh boy. And it's also got the same problem of something that's kind of like, I guess, like sad, I guess, about the whole discussion regarding like content is something about things like Forge, file share, custom games, Infection, like all that stuff. Those don't exist independently of each other, you know? They're all part of an ecosystem. Like, Infection is used to create a variety of different game modes, right? Same with like ball types, you know, that's how you got Griff Ball. So these modes are less, it's Infection, and it's more, it is a rule set that can be built upon and expanded into endless possible custom games. Those custom games are then fostered and grown using the Forge tool. And then the game mode and the map created using custom games and Forge are then spread around via file share. File share is easily accessed within post-game, pre-game lobbies and stuff, and like, you know, other social systems within the game. It all works together. You can't just have Forge mode without a working custom games or a working file share, right? And you can't have working custom games without file share, or even the Forge mode, arguably. So if 343 very slowly starts to patch in piece by piece the ecosystem, it's not going to foster the community in the way that the communities grew in games like Halo 3 or Halo Reach, because those games launched with all of it there. You're going to get kind of like a situation where players who don't use Forge, they're going to see, finally, the Forge tool has released, and they're like, I don't care, I don't make maps. And they don't realize that they would also benefit from Forge if there was a file share in the game, which there isn't yet. Or if the file share comes early. Like, you know, what's the point of having a file share in the game if there's no lobbies where you can share your own? Like, hey, everybody, before the next game starts, check my file share. I've got a cool little custom mode. Any of you want to party up after it? And sure, and you got all these people. And then, you know, after the game ends, you start a little fun custom games lobby. It's not going to matter if it's a segmented release of different features because they're all supposed to be connected to each other. Don't treat them like individual entities that can be drip-fed to the community months apart. Otherwise, players aren't going to be able to appreciate the full scope of when all of those features are in the game supporting each other, if that makes sense. So that's why, like, when people are like, when do you think they'll add Forge to the game? I'm a little bit more interested when Halo Infinite is going to be complete, you know? Would you play this game in your free time in its current state? I would play it to grind literally just the challenges if I care. But honestly, that's not even because I want to grind it. It's more of just like well, it's Halo, and I happen to like Halo, even unfinished Halo games. I would not, like, really want to play some Halo, you know? I'd probably want to play something else. I'd want to play a game that is unfortunately more worth my time right now. All right, we got the bulldog. Oof. We hide under here. Damn it. Okay. Like Elden Ring. Yeah, like Elden Ring. You know? I feel like a lot of games stray away from community stuff. Yeah, it's... There's no secret why games like Left 4 Dead that have built-in ways for the communities to find, create content, and support each other, why they live longer than games like Back 4 Blood, which have removed those options from the player base and have decided that the developers will take it on themselves to make the content and bring the community together via limited events and live service things that they have to grind to make because the player base is getting impatient. You know, you look at games kind of like Battlefield 4, where they have like some pretty damn intense server rental and just customization options. Like those, Battlefield 4 is still alive, and it's still more alive than the Battlefield games that chose to omit a lot of those things because, you know, the developers said, like, we can make the content ourselves. The community doesn't need these options.
4 Spartans remaining.
Oh boy.
Danger zone incoming.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing in my chat box?
It's called the Danger Zone.
Oh God.
For a reason, Spartan.
3 Spartans remaining.
Microsoft's whole marketing for Xbox focuses around connecting people and playing with friends, and their flagship title has no social features. Yeah, it's very weird, right? And I'm sure that there are some people at 343 that are kind of like, you know, struggling to come up with ways to revolutionize Halo, bring it back, you know, into popular culture. And the formula's there, and it was there. And for some reason, they're looking towards games like Apex Legends and Warzone to sustain their communities. And I feel like those aren't the kind of games that Halo is. Halo, they could easily kick up their legs and relax if they built Halo a little bit more smart, I guess, by having core social systems and content creation and content sharing being at the core foundation of the game. You know, a lot of stress, a lot of crunch could be alleviated if, you know, the person talking about copying Apex Legends, if he was brought in and showed, you know, how long games like Left 4 Dead have lived past their expiration date.
Showdown.
Do you still hate the Bulldog? Hate's not a strong word. I just think the Bulldog is very boring. I think it's a very boring gun, and that the classic pump-action shotgun did not need to be removed from the game in favor of the Bulldog. Oh God, kill enemy Spartans from behind. No. Okay, that's more reasonable. I guess I can try getting some melee attacks. I totally spaced getting the melee attacks. But anyways, has anything I've said made sense? Because the whole point about the custom games and how it's important and how you can't just have Forge without file share. You can't have custom games without Forge. Like, we can't talk about these things like they are independent entities. Like, I can't wait till they add infection. The game will thrive for sure, because if there's no infection without Forge, who cares if they add infection back? It'll be a playlist. Some people check out. They'll get bored. And then they'll go play games that are worth their time. When Halo Infinite will properly start to be revived is once social systems are back in the game. It's all got to be connected. They can't be patched in individually. That's why I'm kind of an advocate for stop with these, live service seasons. Like, stop. Give the game a year. Be upfront and honest with the community. Say, we understand, like, the game is not where we want it to be either. So going forward, we are going to keep the store rotating as is. Like, everything, business as usual. But no new content is going to be added. We're going to do stability updates and stuff like that. But the game's going to be mostly as is for about a year. We're going to come back this holiday season with Halo Infinite 2.0, a relaunch, and it's going to have Forge, File Share, all the missing game modes and game types, as well as a new revamped lobby system. I'd rather they do that than half a year from now. We added back Infection. We'll see you in 3 months. Forge is back. 6 months later. We added File Share back. It's broken, though. We'll fix it in 3 months, That's not going to revive the community because it's too fractured and fragmented as a release. They're not going to be able to see the value of all of those different things working in unison. Okay, well, at least I got one melee kill. Miguel Leo says, Old Halo's really raised our bar for features, lol. I wouldn't say Old Halo raised our bars. Like, Old Halo, set those standards for itself. Like, our bars aren't raised. We're just expecting Halo, Hardcore, very in-depth community systems and features for sharing content amongst each other. Like, that's just Halo, man. We're not asking for much. We're just asking for a Halo game, Late Night, what do you think about if they brought back Spartan Ops and made it like Destiny Strikes? That could be cool, actually. I would like something like that. Like multiplayer missions. Or not multiplayer missions, but like co-op missions that are designed around Spartans working together. Obviously make it, like, you can't end it with a giant boss battle, like an elite comes out and says, Mr. Chief, I'm me, and I have a health bar above my head. That means I can tank 50 rockets to the face. Like, you can't exactly design it like that, because that's not what Halo is. So I design it more around really complicated firefights with very sandboxy engagements, and even, like, rules. Like, you have to complete it doing this rule. DGC Picture says, have you finished the interference event yet? I have finished the event, and that's the last time I'll call it an event, because it's not an event. It's a set of challenges that you complete in a new multiplayer mode. It's Call of Duty's getting Godzilla and King Kong. I'm not going to call this an event. Don't worry if I'm not doing too well. It's because I am being forced to get melee kills. Stephen Farmer says that would require co-op to work first. That's true. I forgot. Halo Infinite doesn't even have co-op. Man, like, Joe Staten is such a nice guy. He's so charming, and I love hearing him talk. But hearing him being like co-op, just exploring Zeta Halo with a friend. It's this amazing experience. I can't wait for players to get their hands on co-op. It just makes Halo so fun, and I'm just like, yeah, it does make Halo more fun. Co-op. It's just, I can't be excited about stuff that Halo games used to have as a default. Miguel Aleo says, it's been so long. Do you consider Halo 4, 5, or MCC complete games? I do consider Halo 4 a complete game. Halo 5 right now, I also consider a complete game. And MCC, I also consider a complete game. In fact, MCC has gone kind of like above and beyond when it comes to being content complete for a Halo game. Like, and don't forget, Halo 5, it had to crawl its way to content completion. Halo 5 also launched very content incomplete, and even then, Halo 5's missing some stuff that Halo games should have. Like co-op. Split-screen co-op, I should say. No co-op when the fact hits hard, says Kevin Coolx. Yeah. It's just, like, just bizarre, man. Like, it's I understand because of the scope of Halo Infinite's campaign and the kind of game it is, but I guess what I don't quite understand is, I guess, how disorganized the production of the game must have been, that they went in assuming that they'd have co-op be a part of it, but it was just not possible to add it to the game. Turns out, actually, we have to delay co-op. Oh, crap. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know, man. Maybe open world, like, they bit off more than they could chew with the production. Especially with the engine, just because Halo Infinite's game engine, unfortunately, feels very kind of like... It feels like a product of, like, 2016 or 2017. It doesn't really feel like something next-gen, you know? It doesn't feel something that was built to support, out of the gate, an open-world game. Maybe Halo, the whole, like, open-world journey should have been a thing that they held back until the tech was more ready. I assume that the tech is now ready, you know, because the game's out, and clearly open-world Halo can work. But how much had to be sacrificed to meet the launch of the game? You know, they were probably building a lot of that tech in development, like, while making the game. I remember in fall 2018, Chris Lee said they had 4-player split-screen co-op working. Yeah, I remember that, too, when we were at the studio. Like, they 100% believed that they could do it, you know? But something changed behind the scenes. And it had to be cut. At least for launch. Let me see if I can get my melee kill. I think I've gotten 2 so far. Oh, God. Damn it! Okay, that was so scuffed. That was embarrassing, actually. What do you think of the turrets? It feels like there's only 2, and it feels like they're in bad spots. Oh, like the shade turrets? Yeah, the shade turrets, they also don't respawn, do they? At least I have never seen a shade turret respawn after being destroyed. I don't mind, like, shade turrets being in bad spots, because I think that's okay. You know, not everything has to be in a perfect spot, because otherwise a turret could be very annoying. But maybe just a little bit more on the maps, you know? More fun, wacky, sandboxy things. I'd even like plasma turrets to be in some of the multiplayer maps. Now, what I'd be worried about with that is players would start complaining that they can't get kills with them. But I guess I'm of the logic, like, not all the weapons need to be super competitive. You know, some of them could literally just be there as, like, Lamau. I'm going to see if I can get a kill with this thing. Nope, couldn't. Okay. And then you just give up and use something else, you know? It feels ironically less interesting when everything is so hyper-competitive and lethal. Just a little wild card stuff out there that is just bizarre and really hard to use and probably not that worth it. Because every once in a while, you see someone pick up something like a plasma rifle in Halo 3 or a spiker, and you're just like, what are you doing? And you see them just, like, running around and going nuts like they lost their minds. And it's, like, fun, you know? You don't have a lot of stuff like that in Halo anymore. DGC Pictures Entertainment says, what do you think about the tank gun being removed? Personally, I'm pissed. What I assume is happening is the reason they remove that is probably because they're going to try to turn it into a post-launch content thing. Like, due to popular demand, 7 months later, we've added it back. And it's part of the new open world live event. And if you kill this boss in the open world, then you'll get access. So I assume that's probably what they're doing. They're going to... take, unfortunately, some of the fun out of the tank gun, and they're going to, like, give it production value and make it really special, where I feel like some of the fun of the tank gun is just how, like, janky and unfinished it is, you know? And I saw some people who were hacking into co-op, or not hacking, but glitching their way into co-op, and it messes with the co-op experience. But I almost feel like, at that point, why not just add a disclaimer whenever you pick it up, like, warning what you're using is janky and it will break the co-op experience. Are you sure you want to continue, yes or no? Just flat out removing it and then spending, like, a year adding production value to it. Like, just let us have it. It's okay if it's unfinished. It's like an Easter egg, you know?
Danger zone incoming.
343 takes something away, 7 months later adds it back. Fans, oh my god, 343 is listening to us so actively. Wow. It's not nearly that bad. If there are genuinely, like, engine stability issues with having the tank gun in there, then I am way more understanding. But the silence from 343 is what's weird. And the silence is why I assume it's because they're actually, like, giving it production value. Like, they've seen that the fans like it, so they're probably going to try to do something with it. Richard Duncan says, hey, late night, I just got home from work, and I'm glad to see that you've moved in and started streaming. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a good move. It's finally feeling like home, you know? How do you feel about the design of the Halo 5 Magnum? Personally, I think it's quite cool, even though it is very different. The Halo 5 Magnum is kind of cool because it uses a lot of extremely subtle design cues. Like, it's got those gills, would you call them, on the back of it near the, what do you call it? The slide that the Combat Evolved up to Halo Reach Magnums had. It's also, like, when you black it out, it has the silhouette of the Halo Magnum. It's more like the details of it. Like, from a distance, it looks like a Halo Magnum, but when you actually look at it in first person, it's almost unrecognizable as the Halo Magnum. So it's one where I'm like, that's a cool take on the Magnum, but it isn't the Halo Magnum. It's missing that blockiness. It's missing the white coloration. It's missing the glowing sights, you know, and the little red hammer, I guess you could say, on the back. I used to be a lot more negative about the Halo 5 Magnum, but I've chilled out a lot. Oh, Kevin Cool X is here too. Tight. Yeah, Kevin Cool X is here. Also, Kevin, it's super awesome that you're starting to do other gaming news besides just Halo. I hope that you keep doing that. Because the speed at which you're able to produce new stuff, as well as, like, the pacing of how you deliver content, like, it's good stuff. I'm glad to see that you should branch out to just a gaming news channel. I think you're good at it, the reporting. Ambi says the SMG and Magnum in Halo 5 kept the silhouette really well. Yeah, both the Magnum and the SMG in Halo 5, if you whited them out and you can't see any details and you just see the outline of them, they fit the silhouette. It's just when you start to see the details where you're like, okay, it does look actually quite different. Late night, I miss all of your Halo Evolution videos. When are you going to do the revamps? I could probably get started on a couple revamps tonight, actually, because it's about time, right? Win an oddball match in PvP. Win a quick play match. Let's go into Last Spartan Standing one more time, and then we'll do some of those. Wait, what? Oh, thank God, I just used credits. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, it's okay. Crisis averted. I thought I just bought with, like, cash money that. But no, it was just the free credits from the Battle Pass. That's okay. Kevin Coolx, the last two videos have done well. I always start out with Halo details, even though there's other stuff to talk about. Yeah, that's basically the way you do it. You almost like, it's like boiling a frog, which you guys are not frogs, okay? Just, this is the only analogy I can think of. It's a transition to a general news thing. Like, obviously, always keep Halo there, but now you can deliver even more content to your audience. They'll stick for the Halo, but they'll also enjoy even more uploads from you in general. Oh, in terms of turrets, I was referring to the human turrets, says Cheeky Chops. Oh, I got you. Yeah, the turrets are placed weirdly in Big Team Battle, aren't they? Like, fragmentation. Just the flow of combat, the way that, like, 12 versus 12 works, you don't really get base raids, kind of like classic Halo, you know? I feel almost like they should do something more with, like, where they would work more turrets is in a base setup with, like, walls. Like, you have to actually infiltrate. It's not just, like, in the middle of a field or in the middle of a canyon where you can approach from any direction. We'll put a turret right over here. Like, no, you gotta have a big wall with a fortification and turrets on it, and that would probably encourage players to use them more. Hey, Late Night, are you as concerned as I am about the inevitable performance and stability issues that will come with file bloat as a result of their approach to cross-core customization? I'm not just cross-core customization, it's a worry I have in general, because Halo 5, as they added more and more stuff to it, Halo 5's stability got worse and worse in the menus, and it got to the point where it could take minutes for, like, your customization to load up and your service record to load up and stuff. And Halo 5 is already off to a rough, you know. Come on. Okay, you know what? At least that guy wasted his overshields, you know? I'm very worried that as time goes on and they add more stuff to the game, that like, hitching and sluggishness that we all feel when booting up Halo Infinite, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse. And 343 could never quite solve that with Halo 5. The only real cure for the heavy feeling main menu in Halo 5 was getting a better Xbox. Because on the Xbox Series X, the Halo 5 main menu, it's very snappy and responsive. But once you go to the original Xbox One, dude, like, that main menu chugs because of all the stuff that they've added to it. And Halo Infinite, its menu is not very snappy and very responsive. You can feel the game buckling and just straining under the weight of all the stuff that it's trying to load in. And the fact that they did not look at that problem from Halo 5 and worked to solve it, it's like that worries me that we're going to be in some trouble in a couple of years as more stuff gets added and the stability shoots down.
Cloak engaged.
There we go. That was 2 melee kills, I think. Hey, Late Night Gaming, what canon or fraction cores would you like to see? I'd really like to see a Covenant or Forerunner-themed core. A Covenant-themed core is a good idea, actually. A Forerunner-themed core, that's also pretty cool. I'd love them to revisit, like, that Halo 3 concept art of a Forerunner warrior and, like, actually turn that into something we can wear. Something that would also be super cool is, I would like something kind of like a Mario Odyssey. I'd like a throwback nostalgic core for Combat Evolved that is deliberately low resolution and bad looking, like with bad looking textures and very like blocky and polygonal, you know. I'm not sure how it would fit with like Halo Infinite's animations, since Combat Evolved, like, they're very broad-chested, like comically broad-chested, because Bungie never designed their humans to have very realistic proportions. They always opted for, like, that anime look. It's also part of why I don't think a lot of like the recreation armors have worked very well in 343 Halos, because 343 goes for more like photorealism. Like their human bodies are proportionate and they look plausibly like a human being, whereas, you know, hop on over to Halo 3 and Master Chief has like these weird like monkey arms. Oh god. There we go. That was scuffed. That's fair. I deserve to die there, to be honest. Hey, Late Night, have you had a chance to look at Horizon Forbidden West? I actually haven't. I don't have a PlayStation 5, and Horizon Forbidden West, it has a pretty cool-looking moss system, which I haven't seen in, like, other games. I guess the only other one I can think of is, like, Battlefront 2015, where it had, like, pretty convincing foliage layers on the ground, and that moss layer is not present on the PS4, and I would prefer to play the best looking version of the game. Like, when it comes to, like, I am a bit of a graphics snob. Like, I know that the common thing everybody says is graphics don't matter, only gameplay. I'm of the opinion, like, why not both? Good graphics and good gameplay. So games like Horizon Forbidden West, I am waiting for maybe, like, some kind of, like, you know, cheap PS5 bundle that comes with both. Ah! Oh, God. Did you see that? There was just no throw animation. Damn it! Okay.
Danger zone incoming.
And no CE animations, though. It would, dude, you know what would get me to actually use the Halo Infinite shop? Animation packs. If they ever brought, like, old animations, like remade them in Halo Infinite, like you could buy the Combat Evolved reload animation for the assault rifle. Just they sped it up so that it matched, you know, Halo Infinite's reload times. I'd buy that, okay? I'm not going to buy a red coating for my assault rifle, but I would buy the reload animations for the Combat Evolved assault rifle. Damn it. Would you rather have the Falcon or the Hornet return? That's actually a good Falcon, I'd say. The Hornet's cool, but the Falcon is, like, iconic, I'd say, within the community. Because I do really like the Hornet. The way that the thrusters are positioned, it kind of makes it look like a Hornet that's in the sting position, with the cockpit being kind of like the angry head. It's a cool design for a vehicle, but I'm going to say the Falcon. Halo CE Chief proportions are questionable, LOL. Yeah, humans in Combat Evolved look very silly, and that's why I like them. I feel almost like Combat Evolved, if you were ever to make an anime of Halo, Combat Evolved would be the era of Halo to adapt into an anime, because the body proportions are already so exaggerated that look for the Halo universe, that low poly, super exaggerated look, would translate very smoothly into an anime adaptation. The Wasp feels like a paper plane. Nah, the Wasp just feels like it stole some of the things that the Banshee used to do, and then called itself a new vehicle. What are your thoughts on Firefight in Infinite? Well, I mean, there is no firefight. I feel like out of all the Halo games 343 has made, this is the one that most people seem to agree had the best combat loop out of their, their lineup. So it's bizarre that out of all Halo games, this is the one where they really did not include firefight. Like, even Halo 5 understood the mistake it made by not having firefight and eventually patched it back in. Even if it was Warzone firefight, which isn't very good. It was still like a player versus enemy game mode. It's just a bummer, I feel like there is a stark lack of vehicles. What do you think? I don't think there's a lack of vehicles. There's just a lack of, I'd say, more standout vehicles. Because I do think something should have been replaced. And I mean, people get like very upset if I say that like we don't need the Wasp in Halo. The Wasp's hover ability is something the Banshee used to be able to do. It's a single-man aircraft with a fully automatic primary fire mode and explosive secondary mode. Just this one hovers. Like, you could hover the Combat Evolved Banshee. Just give the Wasp stuff over to the Banshee and then come up with a new vehicle, or bring back a beloved classic vehicle. I do think we could have used something like a brute skiff or something like that, or a Falcon, like a multi-man aircraft. And I do also think 343, I hope that they reevaluate the vehicle spawning system in Big Team Battle, because I think it gives off the impression that there aren't actually as many vehicles in the game as there really are. Because there are a lot of vehicles in this game. It's just you don't see a lot of them in Big Team Battle because they all spawn at the end of the match. I think there was a quick play that it wanted me to do. Vibird said, those two tied, so you won. Oh my god. Good old Halo Infinite. You're forgetting the best vehicle, the forklift. Yeah, the forklift. Let's get that back in here. Man, Halo Reach was so close to something cool that I'm really sad Halo never did again, which is letting you just drive civilian vehicles. Wouldn't it be cool if you could, like in a Big Team Battle map or something that's set in a human city, like all of the human vehicles handle like a warthog or something? Like you just hop into a Jeep and start driving it around. You are not unable to connect to the fire. Okay, well, I'm recording that. I'm going to be less lenient towards Halo Infinite's UI issues now. Whenever I see a bug, I always record it. We need more multi-personnel vehicles. Yeah, just stuff to encourage players to play together. Like the Razorback Hog, I think, is one of the coolest new vehicles 343 has ever designed. Like, not just from a campaign standpoint, because you can load up a ton of Marines in it, but also from like a Big Team Battle standpoint. It's not used a lot, but it's used enough to where when you do use it, it's cool. The ability to like load stuff into the back of it. Like, that's just cool. Like, it's a vehicle where the core design of it is to encourage cooperative play among players. I want 343 to do more stuff like that, like non-offensive vehicles. Like less one-man vehicle that has a fully automatic primary fire and an explosive secondary fire, and more weird multi-man vehicles, kind of like the Razorback. What do you think of a weapons update where 343 just adds weapons? I'd like that a lot. I'd like to see a bunch of stuff back. I tried the chopper today in Big Team Battle. I think I have a new favorite vehicle. Right? The new chopper is cool, man. Oh, God. What is going on? What are we playing? What is this? What's going on? Oh, my God. I feel like when you join a match in progress, you shouldn't immediately be thrown into battle. There's still music playing. Like, from the main menu. That was such a weird, janky, buggy, like... Do you miss the Goshawk? Not really, to be honest. The Goshawk is super dope, and I would like to see it eventually added back in for custom games. But... It is kind of nice that, you know, the Goshawk, we don't need to worry about that. Because on PC, at least, for Halo Reach, that Goshawk, that thing sucked. That thing was so annoying to deal with. It was just like the no-fun police, you know? You just point and click. And there's no real way to counter it, no way to predict when it's coming. You just hear those engines, and all that gunner needs is a pixel of your body. And then it's like you're done, you're deleted. Would you want the Spectre back from Halo 2? Yeah, go ahead. It also helps that the Spectre is a banished vehicle. So, fuck, you know, give it to the banished. That would be fun. Like, Halo Infinite's campaign vehicle combat is not very good. Which is unfortunately, I think after Halo 4, 343 somehow, like, lost the talent to create fun vehicle encounters, which kind of sucks. And now a lot of their vehicle encounters are usually, like... Enemy vehicles are isolated in a tiny arena that they can't usually leave. You don't have like those like multi-vehicle chases on Savo Highway, you know, or like driving through canyons with like ghosts zigzagging around and stuff. It's usually just like, you know, you enter a clearing and there's a ghost there, and the ghost is scripted to never leave that clearing. So you just kind of like drive in circles around it, shooting it till it explodes. Which classic map would you want to see return the most? Let's have High Ground back. Good old asymmetrical map. Asymmetrical maps are super cool. I wish Halo had more of them. Like maps designed around fantasies, you know, like the fantasy of a base assault. Like everybody on the beachhead, they spawn with vehicles, and then the people up top, they got like turrets and stuff like that. And you know, your team gets into your vehicles and you just tear up the beachhead and try to infiltrate through their front gate. You don't really have a lot of... You just have this, where it feels kind of like the hydroelectric aspect of this map. It's more or less just aesthetic. You know, this is a multiplayer map. The location doesn't actually provide any personality. You could swap this out with a Covenant or a Banished thing or anything, and it would play exactly the same. I think the road is a very lackluster vehicle, and calling it a Warthog run is a cardinal sin. The road's problem, I actually think, is it's the way that the Scorpion works. So the Scorpion in Halo Infinite is very fast, and I assume the reason it's so fast is because of the open world. Like, you don't want it to be too slow, or players will never use it. But the problem is in a slow tank crawl where there are targets everywhere. And you've got this thing that's like moving really fast, but it has a super slow fire rate. What usually happens is you can only get off like 2, maybe 3 shots before you are almost running into the Banished or even running past them. So you've just got to join, you got to like go up, stop, start shooting at them individually, which takes a while, and then quickly advance forward. You know, and even if that works, because, like, so many of Halo Infinite's vehicles are so tanky and bullet spongy in the campaign that they take too many shots, and the Scorpion's fire rate is too slow, but the body moves too fast, so the road felt horribly out of sync with itself, the pacing. I appreciate It's something you could easily fix by tweaking the game files. You know, a modder could easily fix the road's pacing problems. It's just about how the Scorpion is balanced. Win an oddball match. I guess oddball is in... We'll go into quick play one more time. ES Media says, I skipped the road and grappled up the mountain. That's another problem with Halo Infinite's campaign. So many of that game's combat encounters can be solved by, if you're in a vehicle, get out of it, start using the grappling hook. If there's things above you, don't worry about the grav lift, just use the grappling hook. If you have to drive across the map, don't use a vehicle, just use your grappling hook. You'll get there faster and you'll be able to climb over a mountain. Heisenberg says, the level is also so linear until the end segment. Linearity isn't a problem. Like, linearity is completely fine. It's just pacing. If you're doing something linear, the pacing has to be spot on, or players are going to notice that it's a hallway. I'd swap the oddball challenge. The odds you even get in a match, much less win when playing quick play. You'll be playing all night long. Oh my god! Kevin! That was a bizarre coincidence! You're right! But man, what are the odds? Okay. Alright. Seems like it has all the problems that Zelda Breath of the Wild has. I wouldn't say that, because Breath of the Wild was at least smart and had a lot of your like climbing stuff. There were resources. Like, it was finite. You know, you got cold, you got hungry, you got, well, no, I don't think you got hungry, but also you had a stamina meter. Halo Infinite feels very scared to ever inconvenience you, so it essentially lets the player run amok. And I think that, you know, it's no secret why players feel like the open world is empty and it's dead and it's too easy, because the game doesn't really challenge you. You know, it wants you to have everything, and it wants you to have an unlimited amount of everything. You can spawn whatever vehicle you want. Grappling hook, use it as many times as you want. Fuck it, all the equipment have them. You can even upgrade them to make them even better. Whereas I think players would probably feel a little bit more engagement in the open world if their resources would be finite, because they then have to go exploring for more of it. They'd feel more of an intimate connection with the game world versus being given the tools to ignore and bypass the open world. He should have knocked me back, by the way. That disruptor just didn't work for some reason. That streamer luck for the win. Yeah, that was a bizarre coincidence, right? What are the odds? Ball. No repulsor in campaign. Yeah, that's another thing. There's like no active camo in the campaign. At least it's tied to like a boring RPG thing, where I think it would have been a lot more fun if those active camos, you could like find them and just keep them in your pocket to use for later. Because that would give you something to explore for. You could be like, oh, an active camo. I'm going to keep this for later. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of the pocket power-ups in multiplayer. Because I think Overshield is already a very annoying thing. You know, just the I have more health than you ability. That seems very boring to me. And so making it even easier to use by letting players like carry it and activate it whenever they'd like. But in a campaign environment, I actually think that that's a little bit more fun. Because you could say, like, after an hour of play, you find active camo or overshields, and you keep it. And you just keep it in your pocket, and then eventually you stumble upon a banished camp, and you're like, I actually think I want to stealth this. And that active camo you found an hour ago, now's the time to use it. You've been holding on to it for this moment, and it makes that activating it feel really important, versus if you just had it forever and infinite and you could use it whenever you'd like. It would feel a lot less impactful, right? A lot less important.
Facing elimination. Ball incoming.
We cling to the margins. Fight.
Am I the only one that thinks that they increased the ragdoll knockback in this season? Corpses seem to fly farther. I did notice that. There's a lot less like weird jank, like you hit somebody with a gravity hammer and they just drop like a sack of potatoes. They go flying now, and they go flying far, and it's not a mechanical fix for the gravity hammer. You still can't self-launch with it. It still kind of feels like just an energy sword with a slower swing and an area of effect, but at least it feels more like it has an effect on the world around you.
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball.
How would that work on a controller? The equipment selection is already quite clunky. I'd say it's already worked in Halo before, We've played Halo 3. We've played Reach. Assign it to a button. And then for the sake of like campaign environment, we could say grappling hook has 10 charges until you have to go scavenging for more. And you could even say like those grunt mules, maybe they're known for carrying the grappling hooks. And maybe you could even see brute excavators using grappling hooks to like mine into the cave systems and stuff. Like, start distributing that equipment among the sandbox. And you could probably just press up on the D-pad or hold up on the D-pad, and it brings up a radial wheel of the equipment you're currently carrying on your person. I'm trying to think of what some of the other stuff could be. The drop wall would definitely be like more combat focused. Think of like the way the Banished will like activate their like shields and stuff. What if they also have like portable ones? Like the Spartan is here, and you see like the grunts like like running out and then throwing out deployable drop walls.
Ball dropped. Enemy has the ball.
Do you think they'll fix the campaign by rebalancing or adding broken mission features, like fixing missions and adding stuff to the open world? I'm sure that they will add stuff to the campaign, but there's a part of me that is anxious that the pencil pushers at Microsoft, they're going to look at what is making Halo Infinite the most money. And they're not going to see campaign sales. They're going to see microtransaction sales. And so resources will be put into multiplayer more than campaign. And it'll be kind of up to modders to start expanding the multiplayer or the campaign offerings. I also think something that would have made the campaign a little bit more interesting is, like, for the sake of multiplayer, I understand wanting to have, like, an ammo limit, but for the campaign, why not let the assault rifle carry 600 rounds again like it did in Combat Evolved? And then get rid of the base spawning stuff. Let everything kind of universally carry more ammo than normal. That way you feel kind of like, you do still have to scavenge in the environment. And I'd even have a piece of equipment that is a repair tool for vehicles. Like you attach it to the side of a vehicle and nanobots quickly rebuild the vehicle. Or it could be like a little welding torch. You hold it down, you can see the bar filling up, and you can see your vehicle starting to get rejuvenated. Yeah, I'm just going to skip the oddball. Win any PvP matches. That's a little bit more reasonable. It's just Halo Infinite, the campaign, a lot of its open world structural problems could be solved by taking some of that stuff away from the player and giving it to the world. Because the player is too powerful by the end of the campaign. There is nothing to do in the open world because you're too powerful for individual encounters to be interesting. You've captured all of those bases. Like, if the player was constantly bleeding resources, if that equipment that you deployed, if that mattered, if that was a loss, or a tactical gain at the loss of the equipment, and then you have to go find more, and you know that the banished can usually be found with the grappling hook or the repulsor at the mines. It'll encourage you to go over and explore. You'll start interacting with the world a bit more.
Lives depleted.
I just think it's that a little bit of holdover from Halo 5, where it's like 343 seems to not be able to help themselves but give the player too many options instead of adding and expanding the world around the player. But I want my Marines to have 5 rocket launchers. You can have your Marines have 5 rocket launchers, and I can tell you how. Skulls. I feel like 343 has really skimped out on skulls. Why make the grappling hook unlimited when you could make a skull that does that as a reward, as a cheat code to find, you know, like the bandana skull? You could have a skull that spawns weapon deployers at all the bases that you capture and stuff. And then you could have all the fun you wanted. And then you could even add like scoring and attack modes, which 343 forgot to include again. You know, they did the same thing with Halo 4, Halo 5, and now Infinite. At least with Halo 5, they patched it back in, which is weird that they then did not have it for Infinite. Like, those are just some of those systems, you know, that we were talking about earlier that, you know, that are kind of part of Halo's identity, which is the skulls were essentially cheat codes. And 343 hasn't really done anything interesting with them. The publishing team on the MCC, they've done a lot more than I'd say 343's core development team when it comes to like realizing the skull's true potential. There's so much potential with the skull system, and it's so weird that they're not acting on it. And instead, they're just making the players overpowered as a default in their campaigns.
Depleted. An exceptional kill.
And lo and behold, like a campaign where you're way too overpowered, it's not going to hold you for very long. You're going to get kind of bored because there's no challenge. And because there's not really anything to unlock because they gave you all the best toys by default as gameplay mechanics, like, you don't feel like there's a lot to explore and uncover. Damn it. I thought MCC added timer or score. I'm not going to credit the MCC, because the MCC, that was a collection of older Halo games. Like, are they just not going to have scoring and timing for, like, Halo 3, you know? Like, no, of course they're going to have that. Like, they have to. It's a re-release of Halo 3. What was more interesting is that whoever ported Halo 4, it might have just been part of the UI itself, but Halo 4 was actually retroactively given a scoring and timing mode that the original 360 release did not have. Damn it. Okay. Federico says, how do you think they'll expand the campaign with DLC? New missions and existing open worlds, or more like adding new locations? Something I'd like to do is new rule sets for the campaign. Like, I'd love more skulls for the campaign. If they want to add replay value, give me more skulls that mess with the gameplay, you know? Like, add skulls that make it so that plasma weapons do EMP damage now. Add skulls that severely reduce or extend the alertness range of enemies. Add skulls that remove their ability to melee or make their melees insta-kills. And then you could, like, mix and match these gameplay modifiers with the difficulty settings, which I actually think are really well tuned. And you could craft different gameplay experiences for the campaign. Like, that's what I would do, is I'd give players a lot of ways to start messing with the gameplay. Here, let's try going into quick play again. One of these matches will win by default. Ryan Kimmel says, I'm just wondering, what's the temperature like where you live? It's 90 over here and I'm melting. Let me actually check. It was like 54 yesterday in Virginia, which was very odd. It is 70. I cannot wait until Virginia becomes a ridiculous like 90-something. And then I can't wait for next year when heat records are broken. And the year after that, and the year after that, until the day that we all die. GGC Pictures Entertainment says there could be a campaign skull for a Reclaimer Saga art style for those who like that aesthetic. That would require a shit ton of work. Because you'd have to rig up all of those like models to work within Halo Infinite's animation sets. But on the top, if we want to talk about things that are like hard to pull off, something that could be super cool is a skull that potatoifies the graphics, like an original Xbox skull. You know, all the trees look crappy and low res. All of the different banished units use designs from Halo Combat Evolved and stuff, and it's just very like low poly and janky looking. That would be awesome. Damn it. As a fellow Virginian, I can confirm yesterday was hell. Right? It was like weird, the weather yesterday. VA weather makes no sense. Sometimes I hate it. Yeah, VA is like odd. It'll storm for like a hot second, and then it'll be sunny for the rest of the day. Okay, let's see if we can go capture. Oh, we captured their flag. We might have this by default. It might be one of those snowball matches. That was very scuffed, but it worked. How about a skull that toggles third-person mode and one that replaces Chief's model with your multiplayer Spartan? Boom, there you go. Those are awesome skull ideas. Let's have some more skulls. I'd like a skull that makes it so that all of your weapons are kind of like they're all inverted, like shifted over one. So all kinetic weapons now fire plasma that travels. All plasma weapons now fire hard light, and all hard light now fires like bullets. Like just weird stuff like that that totally messes with the way that the games are balanced. And people will say, well, that doesn't sound very balanced. But yeah, it's a cheat code, dude. It does something weird. What about a for fun skull that enemies fly straight up in the air when they die? I'd call it a precipitation skull. That's funny. That's funny. I like that idea for a skull. Like they just... and they just go flying up into the sky after death. That would be pretty cool. A Fiesta Skull. You and every weapon spawn with random weapons. Something like that, yeah. A randomizer skull that alters statistics. That could be cool as well. You could even have like a skull that every 30 seconds different values within the game world on like a custom games like level will change. Like suddenly weapons take forever to reload and it'll be like that for 30 seconds. Then suddenly gravity is super light and you're like floating everywhere, or gravity is so heavy that you just like can't jump anymore for 30, and it's every 30 seconds it changes to a random rule. Bro, your teammates are not picking up the flag. Yeah, they're not doing it. To be fair, though, they're probably like me, where we're just like, we have this game. Let's just run around. Damn it. Okay. A skull that switches the orientation of the player from right to left. Do you think weapon stats should be a custom game settings? Yeah, well, more so than custom games, I think they should be a thing you can tune in Forge. Because that would be a lot of fun to be able to tune them in Forge to, like, basically you could create your own balancing if you're not happy with how the game plays. And then in our perfect world where Halo games launch complete, you could then hop into post-game lobbies and invite people to try out your rebalance. Skull that changes Chief's voice to a grunt voice. See, now you're talking. That's fun stuff. Good. There we go. Win any PvP matches. Grapple shot an enemy Spartan in PvP. Oh, jeez. I think I can get that, actually, in Fiesta. A skull that gives Marines banished voices and the banished Marine voices. That could be fun as well. That's a good idea. Trying to think of other gameplay skull ideas. A skull that just removes reloading. Like, your gun's out of ammo, basically, when it's out of ammo. So you can fire the assault rifle 200-something bullets. I forgot how many spare rounds it carries.
Fiesta.
A skull that gives me back my hype. That's going to take a little while. Oh my god, these two must be friends. Because they look exactly the same. Just wondering, why would you tie weapon sets to Forge rather than custom games? Because I assume in, like, Forge, you could probably... It would probably be cleaner, I guess. Because you could actually, like, go to the weapon in the Forge monitor mode, and you could, like, look at it and physically tweak the stats, versus if it was buried in a sub-menu in custom games. But I guess that would also require Forge to be something anybody could really use super easily. I guess if you feel like you could easily, you know, make it easy to use, I guess, in custom games, that make it easy to use. Nice one, dude. Weapon jam. Your gun randomly... Oh, yeah. We could call it the Polish Skull. And the description is lack thereof. Your weapon occasionally jams. Oh boy.
A commendation is in order.
Double kill.
What about a skull where sometimes your fob can get retaken by the banished? Maybe even have tougher enemies and you have to take it back. That's another good idea. Something I'd actually really like is have Firefight be part of the game world itself. You could go to your banished bases that you've captured, and once they're captured, there is a terminal sitting there. And if you activate the terminal, a force field surrounds the area, and you're kind of trapped in that location. And then banished ships start coming in, and, you know, Firefight initiated. And, like, the rounds start ticking up and stuff, and, like, boom, there you go, in-universe Firefight. When you and your friends want to play, you guys just load up the campaign, hop in a Warthog, travel to whatever base you'd like to initiate Firefight in, and, you know, have fun. I feel like if even same with like replaying campaign missions, why not let that be something you could access at a terminal? People say that the open world of Halo Infinite feels so like boring and lifeless. Well, inject some life into it. Make a lot of those game systems a part of the open world. Come on. Come on. Damn it. Okay. Those outposts are already fully fledged firefight maps, to be honest. Yeah, right? Like they were play tested. Like they're fun to play. You know, those are really good PvE environments. Turn those into firefight maps, man. Nice try, kiddo. Wait, what's the quote? Nothing personal, kid. I don't feel it's lifeless. You have plenty of things to do in the open world outside the main missions. Way better than the ODST open world. I don't know. I kind of liked the ODST open world a little bit better. And that's not saying much. I just think the ODST open world, it served the game a bit better than the Halo Infinite open world. It felt more organic, I guess. Where the open world of Halo Infinite felt very video gamey, for lack of a better term. Like New Mombasa, I kind of believed as an organic part of the game, where with the open world of Infinite, I can't for the life of me explain to you why killing all the enemies or destroying all those silos, that somehow makes it permanently off limits to the Banished. You know, you shut down like this silo thing, and the weapon's like, good job, Chief. This really put the Banished back. We really stopped it. What's stopping them from just dropping shit? Like, there's a ship up there in orbit in the skybox. What's stopping them from just dropping an army down and retaking it, you know? In fact, sometimes if you return to those areas, there's just Banished patrolling them. Like, dude, repair your shit. Like, just because Chief blew it up doesn't mean, like, no, honor rules. The player took it back. We can't get it now. Like, there's a lot of gamey stuff in Halo Infinite's open world that I can't really explain. Whereas New Mombasa felt very humble, and because of that, like, humbleness, it felt more organic, I guess, as part of the game world. If that makes any sense. As well as all of those, like, Save the Marines side missions. Like, they could all die, and the weapon will still be like, good job, Chief. Those Marines owe you their lives, and they're all dead. It's just like, you know, glass over the eyes. It's like, the characters don't seem to understand the artificiality of the game world. Like, it's almost like they're all pretending that it's not there. But as a player, I'm taken out of the moment because it's like, what? What? Like, it breaks my immersion. It doesn't feel like I'm in a real place. It feels like, you know, like a mod for Halo or something. It reminds me of that, I always quote that thing from the campaign where the Harbinger is like, why don't you just deploy an army on him? And Eshrom's like, no, an army couldn't stop him. And I'm like, why? Like, Master Chief had to flee from Planet Reach. Like, he's not a superhero. He's still a dude. Like, I'm sure if Eshram was like, you know what, fuck this, and just, like, dropped a nuke on Chief, I don't think he'd survive. Like, Chief is lucky, but luck can run out, you know? It's just the game world is very artificial, and there aren't a lot of narrative explanations for its artificiality. Could they not just glass Chief? Yeah, exactly. They could have just easily glassed Chief. And then once Escharum is dead, the Harbinger assumed control of the vanished forces. Like with Escharum, I'll give you a bit of leeway. Escharum clearly wanted to fight the Chief himself because he was dying and he wanted to have that final battle. Well, once Escherum's dead, why isn't the Harbinger just like, oh my, for fuck's sake, okay, is this thing work? Glass him, you know? She's like, no, Reclaimer, I want to fight you one-on-one in an arena boss battle where I have attack states and I fly around.
Victory.
Chief would just hide in a cave with Noble 6, says Dragon Lord. Yeah, Chief would hide in a cave. With ODST, the lack of, like, you just being nuked makes sense because you're not Master Chief. You're an ODST. Like, nobody in the Covenant notices you, you know? And you're not, like, taking down strongholds as an ODST. You know, you're just, like, walking through the streets and you take down a brute squad. And that's, like, it. And in fact, as ODST's story goes on, you start to notice way more Covenant activity overhead, you know? Like, you start seeing, like, more enemies, even hunters. Like, you're making noise in ODST's campaign, and as you stay in the open world, you start to actually find more, like, patrols waiting for you. You know, they're getting reports that somebody is still out there alive, and they're picking off Covenant troops. Infinite doesn't really have anything like that. You know, there isn't this escalation or this sense that the world is reacting to you realistically. It's just, you know, honor rules.
We can't stop him. He checked it off his mini-map. That silo belongs to player 1 now.
You're thinking of the word contrived for Infinite's open world. I mean, that for sure, but it's also, like, sloppy, like, very sloppily executed. It was done more, like, with, like, pulling up, like, it's something that, you know, to be fair, a lot of open world games struggle with that, especially Ubisoft games. They've gotten very bad at explaining the gamey aspects of their game. Like, why in every single Far Cry game can you hear the enemies talking to you over the radio? If I remember right, there was only one Far Cry game that explained that, which is your character actually picks up a radio off of a dead enemy. And because you got that radio on you, you can hear them planning and plotting. But in future Far Cry games, that never happens. So why in, like, Far Cry 5, when there's, like, an enemy plane overhead, is there that, like, I'm gonna dive bomb him? Like, what the fuck? Where's that voice coming from, you know? And Halo Infinite is very bad at explaining those open-worldy, gimmicky game mechanic stuff. It's like the story was written before the open world. Yeah. Or like the open world, the people who designed it and the people who wrote the story lived on different sides of the planet. And at the end of production, they came together and glued their work together. There isn't a lot of cohesion. Yeah, it's just, there's going to have to be a little bit more work on the writing side to tie the open world into the story, because they feel surgically detached from each other. And I think just a little bit more work could be done on making the open world feel like a real authentic place. I don't think just because it's open world means that, like, well, it's open world, that's why it's gamey. Plenty of open worlds feel very organic and integrate their open worldy mechanics into the narrative itself in a very satisfying way. Yeah, it's just very odd. It's like, why wouldn't the Banished just, nuke Chief or, like, send in their best reinforcements or something? Like, I get it from Escherum's standpoint, but surely something would give at some point. I wouldn't even mind some kind of, like, GTA star system where the more noise and chaos you make in the open world, suddenly phantoms start spawning and more enemies, and it gets to the point where you start being harassed by enemies in the open world. Phantoms are following you and shooting at you and stuff, and the more chaos you create, like, more enemies start spawning in. And then you have to hide somewhere to kind of, like, draw attention off of yourself a little bit. And then, the Marines factor them more into the story. I think we talked about this on another stream, which is 343's intense fascination with telling Master Chief stories instead of military stories. In the Bungie games outside of Combat Evolved, it was the UNSC versus the Covenant. It was not Master Chief versus the Prophets, Like, the Prophets definitely knew of the demon, but they were fighting humanity, the UNSC. The demon just happened to be part of the army. And I feel like that's because 343 doesn't really factor the UNSC into their stories. It's always Master Chief. And I think if you could probably make a justification of a war on the surface of the ring, well, that's why they're not just sending things to nuke Master Chief, because, well, it's the UNSC they're fighting against, not just the Chief.
10 Spartans
Oh, boy.
remaining.
That's at least a problem that I have with Halo Infinite. Oof. Oh my god. I'm in trouble. Damn it. Okay. I want to say it has to do with staying power. Like, what's the purpose of doing these things in the game? A lot of other open world games make you feel like you're doing something that has meaning. And Halo tries it with the fobs and such, but it just doesn't work as well. Yeah, exactly, There's a banished warship overhead. What's stopping them? Like, like you could picture like a brute in this massive warship with troops everywhere and tanks and guns, and like, they just see like on like their little map, like one of the things just disappears. It's like, hey boss, one of those bases, we've lost contact with the people. It's like, it was probably the humans. Drop a fucking wraith on them. Like nothing's stopping them from retaking all of their stuff. Why are they? Are they playing with honor rules? I think after Halo 5, they were too scared to not focus on Chief. And that definitely sucks, because not focusing on the Chief wasn't, the reason Halo 5's story wasn't good. It's just because it wasn't very good. Plenty of non-Chief stories are excellent. Halo 2, I'd argue, Arbiter was more of the main character in that game than Chief, and that story was excellent.
5 Spartans remaining.
It's 343 keeps forgetting that it's the UNSC. It's not just the Master Chief. And same goes for the villains. Having a good villain is great, but that villain's only as good as his army. And the Banished... Damn it. The Banished, unfortunately, feel more like henchmen in Halo Infinite because of the way that it seems to be only, like... I think of, like, Halo 2, how you did feel like the Covenant were like an army in that game. They're doing their own things. There were factions, there were leaders, and those leaders, their soldiers acted and spoke independently of them. Like, Tartarus wasn't personally killing all of the elites. It was the brutes as a whole in Halo 2. If it was Halo Infinite, they probably would have given, the role of purging the elites to, like, named antagonist number 187, who is played by famous actor here. Think of, like, ODST and Reach. Those games didn't have antagonists with a face on them, and you believed the Covenant were a threat. You understood them. Where with Halo Infinite, like Escharum and like all these characters, like, okay, like I get that, but when it comes to some of the Banished and what they're doing on the ring, I don't see intelligence behind it. I see a level designer placing AI. There's a couple of moments in Halo Infinite's campaign where you'll hear like brutes idly chatting or something, but for the most part, it's just like you enter a room and a closet opens up and a bunch of enemies come out and fight you, and then you move to the next room. You know, there isn't a reason that they are there in those individual rooms or patrolling in the open world. Like, wouldn't it be fun if instead of the brute doing that goofy walk where they're just like walking around, wouldn't it be fun if you saw a brute napping under a tree, just like being lazy? Like, give them a bit more personality outside of combat. Make them feel less like henchmen that are waiting to start a fight with the player.
Only trust your fists. Also, your guns. Also, me.
Oh no. Damn it! Okay, that was a bad start. Yo, or like even from Halo 3 where you can catch that one brute that's like peeing in a corner. Like, do that. Like you catch a banished brute with his pants down peeing into a river or something. Just like funny stuff. Like you don't really catch the banished off guard doing anything other than just patrolling. You know, I want to see like an elite picking on grunts. I want to see jackals, like, picking the bones off of something that they found on the side of the road. They just feel very, very, very gamey. And their dialogue is all excellent. It's just, their reasons for being in the place that you stumble upon them in. Like, they're never really doing much, but waiting for the player to arrive. Think of even, like, in Halo 3, how the Covenant had those, like, sermon podiums, and you'd have all the grunts, like, huddled around and, like, listening to the Prophet's sermons. Like, that was a fun idea, you know? Like, those banished towers, what's stopping, like, you know, like, some brutes, like, you know, that like, folded arm stance they used to have, all just, like, standing around and looking at, like, their grunt conscripts that are all sitting in a circle around those banished towers, talking about how important the banished are and why they matter, and... Yeah. All right. I think I'm starting to tap out just a little bit. But this was a fun stream. Damn it. Okay. Logan says, am I the only one who hates the multiplayer being canon? I used to dislike it a lot more than I do now. Now I'm kind of like, you know, who cares? It's very easy to ignore the fact that it's canon. But there is definitely something that takes the sting or the fun of multiplayer away when you're being told up front, even within the logic of the game's universe, these battles are fake. Nobody's dying. This isn't a real war. Like, something that was a lot of fun was Invasion. Where it's like, Invasion, you could kind of, you know, squint and you'd believe that it was an actual battle being fought on Reach. If it was Halo 4, 5, or Infinite, though, you'd be reminded up front that, just a reminder, this is fake. Even within the logic of the game, it's fake, so don't have too much fun. It's kind of like when you were a kid and you were playing, like, water gun fight, you know? Just let me have, like, my fantasy that this is real and I'm really in World War II or something, you know? I don't need to be reminded that nobody's, you know, that there's no war, there's nothing at stakes. Halo Reach, where the grunts used to attach to the methane recharge stations, were cool. Yeah, right? Like, some of that idle stuff, Halo Infinite's missing it. And I think it would help the banished feel a lot less like henchmen to get them. Just, you know, what does a brute look like putting his hair down and just like relaxing and chilling? Because nothing's going on.
Remaining.
Nice.
Hey, nice shooting.
Let's go this way. Does the theater mode work for campaign? Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. It's a modern Halo game. Halo Spartan Assault's opening cutscene says it's all fake. Yeah, right? That was another weird thing where it's like, wow, way to lower the stakes of the game, like telling the player that it's fake and it's a simulation and none of it's real. It's kind of like, imagine buying like any video game, and the first cutscene of the game is saying, now, all of this is a simulation. None of it's real. Like, no, you just want to be immersed in the world. You don't want, even by the world standards, for this to be fake. Oh boy. Okay, we're about to get the bulldog, which is good at least. Uh-oh. This is not good. I'm still on commando, and I'm willing to bet some of those guys now are on battle rifle.
Danger zone incoming.
Danger zone incoming. Okay. Okay. That was a bit scuffed. I should have been paying attention. Assassin's Creed. Yeah, Assassin's Creed, man. That Animus stuff. I hate the Animus. Like, what a bad idea. I just want to believe I'm in Venice or something like that, you know? I don't want even the game to be telling me that this Venice is fake.
Hostile perforated.
Yes. Okay. Something drop over here.
Danger zone incoming.
Okay, up there. Okay, it's just a camo. But we can use this. So I think I hear him. Oh. There we go. Good, good. And now 50 more points, and we can get the battle rifle. Ambi says, I was just curious, why the Maltese Mayhem coatings? They kind of look like the defaults. That's actually why I like them. I kind of prefer the coatings that don't get too wacky or weird, that kind of still mostly preserve the look of the gun. Because, like, I like the look of Halo's guns, you know? I don't want to ruin the look of the assault rifle by covering it in red. Because I don't really remember the assault rifle ever being red. I kind of like the in-universe stuff that I feel like people would logically put on a military weapon. So that's usually how I judge, like, the coatings that I like. So, you know, things like Maltese. Like, this is how just, you know, I prefer it to look. And I think it looks really cool on the Commando. I actually kind of like it better than the Commando's default colors.
Spike.
I am so bad with the Commando. Power up top. Oh, yeah, good point. I can't believe I lost that. Ah, damn. I was going to blame it on my weapon jamming, but I'm not going to be that guy. So I'm going to blame it on the lag. Up until the end of Assassin's Creed 3, I think the Animus worked just fine because Desmond's story was real and presently happening, and glitches could be part of the story too. That is also true. Lately, though, Ubisoft has gotten just lazy, I guess, with how they tell the Assassin's Creed story. Oh. Blame it on Bungie, just like Uni did. Oh, did Unishek blame Bungie? That's funny. Shock a set of 4 or more Spartans with a single no. What's an MT-47 HMG? George would be proud? Oh, like a turret? Just call it a turret, man. That's also something that's starting to drive me a little bit crazy. I hate that they're using the fake fictional names of all these, like just call it a battle rifle, just call it a sniper, just call it a turret. Like, it's... There's so many things I've got to, like, remember in life, and I don't have a lot of storage in my brain for the fake production name of a fake gun that doesn't exist, you know? The Frozen Fire says, bow to hop off the stream. Love this, though. Have a great day, guys. I appreciate you joining, man. Thank you for entertaining us. The last open world I liked from Ubisoft was Watch Dogs 2. They had a lot of things that made the world feel alive. I've heard Watch Dogs 2 is actually not that bad, and it's kind of like a bummer because that game didn't do well from what I understand. I'd assume it's probably just because, like, a lot of people were cautious after the first Watch Dogs game. Man on the Moon says, Late Night Gaming, have you checked out Low Sodium Halo? I'll have to check out Low Sodium Halo, because that sounds like a nice break from the main Halo subreddit, where it's just number company bad over and over again. The specific names thing feels odd considering the limited sandbox, in my opinion. I'd assume that they went with the weapon designation thing so that they could have room for more. Like, they could theoretically add back the Halo 2 battle rifle and have it have its canon in-universe name. But for me, at least, it's just confusing. Like, I've made 2 evolution videos now on the assault rifle, and I couldn't for the life of me tell you what they're actually called. I know MA5 something, because it's just, I'm just gonna call it the Reach assault rifle, you know? Yeah. Okay, let's go up here. Nice. We're off to a pretty good start. Heard something drop. What is this? I could make use of this. See what my friends are up to down here. Clean up. Yes, okay. Now. Oh, no. Oh, yes, I reversed it. Okay. Oh my god. Yes. Okay. That guy got distracted. Oh my god, we gotta get out of here. I'm playing a dangerous game right there. There we go. Okay. Gosh, that was whew. That was sweaty. That little engagement. Let's hide right here for a quick breather. I'm listening. One HP warrior. That's me. 1 HP warrior. That was very fun, man. I miss battle royales kind of being like that, just like these little chaotic, crazy things. Ugh. Like PUBG, dude, I loved PUBG before it got kind of like crazy, I guess. Because for me, the most fun that comes out of like battle royale is not like who has the most armor and who's got it. Like, I like the stories that I can walk away from a match with more than even winning. I think I've gotten one win in PUBG, and that was with a friend who basically carried me. But for the most part, all of my favorite memories from PUBG in its early days were the stories of screaming like a child when somebody kicks open the bathroom door and has a shotgun, and I'm hiding in there trying not to be loud. Like, battle royales have just gotten too sweaty, like too focused on winning. Damn it. Okay.
10 Spartans remaining.
Honestly, I don't know how the sidekick is the starter gun. It's so good, and I didn't swap until shoddy. I regret in my video initially saying that the sidekick was messy. That was mostly due to how players were using the sidekick. Because I do agree, the sidekick is damn powerful. I feel like almost players should have just started off with the zapper, like nothing else, or just something. That way that early round can be a little bit sloppy, a little bit messy, you know? Oh, this is bad. This is bad what I'm doing. Ooh. Ooh, boy.
5 Spartans remaining.
Okay. Think I'm okay for now. Yeah, I see you, buddy.
4 Spartans remaining.
Yes.
3 Spartans remaining.
Now watch me make the exact same mistake. All right. We got the battle royale. We got the chicken dinner. We're going to win this. That blood, that battle royale blood, it's pumping. This mode has definitely helped me appreciate the commando more. Yeah, the commando is it's not bad at all. It's just, unfortunately, there's other guns that are way easier to use than the commando. Kind of like the assault rifle. Or the battle rifle, for that matter. Like, the commando is solid on its own. And I think this mode has probably also helped a lot of players aim. Oh my god, I didn't know who I was watching. I saw a Halo live stream and immediately clicked on it. Your videos are awesome. That's really kind of you to say. I appreciate you joining the stream, man.
Danger zone incoming.
Ah! Yes! Can't believe I survived that. I survived that by the skin of my teeth. Do you prefer modern Halo controls or classic Halo controls? I prefer the controls that the game is built for, basically. That being said, there are some, like, old habits do die hard. So for me, it's, I can't get used to melee being on the right stick. So I have basically Halo 5's default control setup, where I've got melee here, grenades are there on left bumper. I've got Halo 5's default controls here, because I feel like the modern Halos are so built around aiming down the sights, even Halo Infinite to an extent, that I feel like the classic bumper jumper that I used to run a lot, it's clicking the zoom stick is not really how these games were designed, I guess. Oh boy. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. That's okay. I've got a few respawns. I wish they gave PC red reticle or some aim assist at least. The PC version actually does have aim assist. It just... something's bugged about it. And 343 has defended, I guess, the aim assist. They don't seem to think that there's a problem, but something weird is going on with the PC. I know what you're talking about, and I'm not sure if it's a confusion about when aim assist kicks in because of the lack of red reticle, so you don't really understand or know the ranges. But the red reticle also is a big problem. Their justification for why they don't have it on PC, I understand, but considering other PC games have it and they're fine, I feel like the red reticle is more a symptom of their inability, I guess, to keep up with a lot of cheating problems, you know? It's more like there probably would be red reticle on PC if, you know, they're a little bit quicker on the old anti-cheat. But we are probably going to call it after this game, okay? Because I'm starting to get tired. We've been doing this for what? Almost 3 hours. Nice. And I appreciate all of you guys joining. This was a ton of fun. And thank you to some of those of you who donated. I really appreciate it.
Danger zone incoming.
All right, where's that final guy? Oh my gosh. Well, he took down my overshield. Yes! All right, we got him. Yes! Ugh. Imagine if Infinite pulled a Battlefield 4 with camos for coatings. Oh, where there's just like dozens of them, and they can be applied on your character as well as your weapons. I'd like something like that. That was a good game, guys. Alrighty, thank you everybody for joining. That was a good stream. We had some interesting conversations, and I can't wait to get back to writing the evolution of the elites as well as the evolution of some of the other Halo weapons. So I shall see you guys later. Okay, this is a good place to call it for the evening. Take care, everybody. Drink some water.